7:06. Yeah, we'll start with Ken with the treasurer's report.
Okay, so for the second month in a row, there are no changes to the treasurer's report. Nothing new happened since we made the last update. So I'll just verbally review the years after the end of the first annual meeting. We began the year fiscal 2026, or we will begin the year of fiscal 2026 with $1,320,000 available to make grants, from which to make grants. And our bond payments are up $130,000. So far in May, we approved $446,700 worth of grants, which were accepted. And we have an expectation of up to $24,000 in administrative expenses, so that through the May town meeting, for the first half of 2026, we'll have expenditures of $601,000 from the $1.3 million. So that leaves us with $718,000 of funds available to make grants in October. $718,000, or probably pretty good, just still a good amount of change. And again, that number will increase by probably $100,000 plus or minus when fiscal 2025 closes in July, as it always does. So you call it $800,000.
Okay, so that is from closeouts?
The estimates that are made every May are formularically extremely conservative. And so when the actual numbers come in, they get corrected upward.
Okay.
And over the past 5 to 10 years, it's been, this average of $100,000 upwards. And 1 year was over $200,000 upwards.
Like fabulous. Any questions? Clear to entertain a motion?
Move to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The motion carried unanimously. Minutes. We have minutes from April 24th. There's a few corrections, a few typos. Ken brought up one.
Yes, under the review of the affordable housing treatment, when we reviewed it, we didn't suggest additional changes. We said that there were 4 anomalies from what it was that we had approved. 2 of them were clearly typographical errors, and 2 were arguably substantive. So they went and so that's what it was. There were 2 typos and 2 omissions noted. So as far as the minutes go, that's it.
And I say typo.
What I would like to say right now is that I think the version we have now is okay. And we'll get to that stuff.
Okay, good. So do I have a motion to accept the minutes as amended, as corrected?
So moved. Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Declare motion carried. Okay, here we go. Strike that.
Moving right along.
Now we're back to the agreement, so that if you're okay with where we are, then we can vote and put it to best.
They fixed the 2 obvious typos, and they added the phrase no less than, they added the phrase about annually. And I can kind of see the point that the attorney made about on the issue of the affordable housing restriction. And it's really covered 2 places. It's covered in the section 4, I think it was. We're still
Actually, yeah.
Okay, in section 4, it says that there will be an affordable housing trust, a restriction for property purchases. And it cites the state office that approves them, and it goes through the initiation and achievement of the affordable housing restriction there. In 7, no, he's up in
11.
in 11, it kind of says it kind of says the same thing, but it talks about ensuring permanent enforcement, and which is kind of different than establishing the restriction document in the first place. Because, for example, with the property on Upton Street, what's the name of that? The big place that they're doing across from the firehouse,
1727 Upton.
1727. What's the name of the company that's doing it?
GSX.
Yeah, GXX.
GSX.
The agreement with GXX includes a substantive phrase in that agreement where it says that they will, or at least somebody will, permanently contract with a third-party organization that will annually check to make sure that the restriction is being met. Which goes to the subject of enforcing the restriction. And I was thinking and I thought that Section 11 is the only place that uses ensure the permanent enforcement. And I was thinking that, it sounds like it's talking about that in Section 11. And so it doesn't need the and there, because it's saying they obtain the approvals for the agreement. That's in Section 4. So that doesn't need to be handled here. And so you could just have Section 11 talk about, as it does, the enforcement of it. And so I'm satisfied.
Okay.
So do I have a motion to accept the...
Draft agreement as presented.
So, second. I have a motion second, and from specials.
So I think this agreement is as clean as any of these agreements ever get.
You guys worked long and hard. We appreciate all the effort on because of our keys. Colleen,
That's a good way.
just turning this. Barbara.
There's always some little
There's something to say about this.
as clean as they ever
Don't let the perfect get in the way of the good. So it will be. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Okay.
Sorry.
Congratulations to all of us.
Yeah. Now we can never look at it again.
Now it needs to be signed, right? That needs to be submitted.
Sign it. You have another topic. Give it to me.
Here.
Well,
I'm done.
it needs to be a signable copy.
So it's just,
It doesn't say draft on it.
Was sorry.
It needs to be a signable copy signed, and that doesn't need to be, since we've approved it now, it's going to be signed offline.
Okay.
All right, so it's both chairs.
if you want to notify Stanford to let her know we're ready to sign it. So if there's, because there's not even like a signature, so
Yeah,
Oh,
clear it
then.
back.
but it says draft.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
If it's into draft, I could do it, and they can just staple it.
uh,
And I've resigned, so that is there a new chair in the committee?
as far as I know, he has not resigned, but I don't think he's seeking reappointment, is what I saw.
Okay. So let Amber know, and then she could just put it in the mailbox, and then I can just pop over
Okay.
and sign it. The same thing with trust. I don't know, your next meeting, so it'll be wherever you want it to be. I can just leave it with Amber.
Yes,
She's your in person,
Yeah.
right?
Of course,
But then it's
where do these agreements get kept in the town?
On the internet. I don't know.
Oh, great.
But honestly, that's probably the best place for it. It's on the town website, so it's
True.
accessible and it
There should
doesn't
be a
get
copy of it there, but
we could,
there needs to be,
but you could put this once it's all executed. You could scan it, put it on our website,
Yep.
and then they'll put it on the server as well. So it's
Yep. That's a safer
it
place.
needs to be kept in town records, so if someone needs to go get one someday, they can.
Right. But the town website is the fastest way for anybody.
Yes, that is.
But then, I don't know if it's down.
But they're going to throw away on the original copies.
I appreciate it. Look at this every
Don't
night.
throw them away. Let's-
That's why I mentioned it.
Checking the risk. Does the town clerk keep things like this? Does anybody? I have no idea what kind of.
You would think definitely. Yeah.
That's might be something that
Right.
run it past the town clerk as well.
Yeah, well, let's do so.
I would assume it would be Westwood.
Yeah, in charge of like the original. Right.
So,
Bill Crossley, even.
but there's no like office of affordable housing or office of community preservation.
Well, there's
So I'm not sure.
But you appreciate
If this were not, if this were within the town and some third, some independent organization, the original would be kept dearly, I would imagine. And this is a little less dear because it's within the town.
Yeah.
Except that the trust is really quasi-independent, isn't it? It's some weird status.
It's something like that, yeah. But the point is, the grant agreement will be available to anybody who wants to review it. It'll live on the town website once it's signed, and then the original document, when Ken wants to look at it again, we will make sure he has.
I don't want to. I just want to know. I just want to know that it's properly lost by some official person who's in charge of.
I know I can get input, Chris. Right.
We can all sign and take a picture with it.
I thought,
Okay, good.
Tony, the town meeting, all of our warrant articles passed. There were a couple of articles that people did have questions about. Maybe one was the funding for the Congregational Church, and a woman asked, had we funded any non-Christian organizations? And I mistakenly said no. And somebody else corrected me to say we had, because the Unitarian Universalist Society is not a church and it's not Christian.
No.
So now we can say, if we have anybody else asking, yes, we have included non-Christian and Christian organizations. And so it's good to have an update on that. And then another question that was raised after town meeting to me, even though we had a discussion at town meeting about affordable housing funds, that not all anybody could apply for affordable housing affordable housing funds from CPA. It's just that we give them to the trust to spend on their projects. But like Jack said, we've given money to the housing authority, and that's not the trust, and that does affordable housing. So
I think you handled it well at town meetings. And you got up there and you explained the reasoning why we do it this way, so that the funds are accessible when something comes up, and we don't have to wait till town meeting. And we don't miss any opportunities.
and all these alternatives, like we look into other towns like Warts, and they do a similar thing, and it's so that the money is readily accessible. And because of the fact that real estate is very quick, and town meeting or town process can be very slow, and so you could miss an opportunity. And I think that was our goal, was not to have an opportunity missed, especially given there probably not going to be a whole lot of opportunities. So you want to have that money available to spend when that opportunity arises, and not wait for our bureaucratic mechanisms to get caught up.
And plus, you had an example of alternative.
And so, okay.
Can we get an update with what happened with the wolf?
Yes, I sent an email with Joanne had the more recent flyer on. It was done in Katana or something like that, some other name that's old. But that she could, it's a software.
Yeah, letting you
Canva.
Yes, okay.
That's for me. That's part of and like okay, but stuff literally that. So she sent it to me, and I forwarded it to Ken and Jack, but I didn't hear back until it was too late. And I said it's too late to make any changes because it was Thursday and the meeting was Monday.
It was the same format, but text top to bottom on every page.
It was a lot.
So it was like, if this is all we have to work with, we have to start ground up. Don't have access to any of the stuff from that.
Great. Can we just start that now? So
Yes.
we're ready for October? Because I think it would be super nice to have one of these. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And just like explaining, because I think some of those questions were, could have been easily answered with something like that.
And I can send Joanne's. I mean, is that helpful or not? Or you want to wait till next meeting to have a hard copy of?
Well, if we're going to start from the ground up, we can just.
Can, but to see, it's not this. It's a much nicer flyer than. So why do we have to start from the ground up? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the version that we have access to edit is not that one. It is a version with, I think, one photo and then top to bottom text, small font on every single page. So it has none of the features that we liked about this and no access to like,
Is that Joanne's?
no.
No.
Can we not get Joanne's version?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We can, but to make it that, it would be start over, which is fine now. To get it made before the last time meeting was a mountain.
Yeah.
But
Let's get Joanne's version so that we have all of the versions.
Right, and then you can see
we
what you
cherry
pick and
what we
choose.
want, and then that gets the best version and send it.
So I'll send that to you. Yeah.
I'll give me one time.
Q. Well, the thing is with Kent, she had it because she works for nonprofits, and it said I could do it because I volunteer with the nonprofit that I can, to pay a licensing fee.
But this
So I don't have a
what's
problem.
on. Yeah, like I could make this tonight, and we could have a new version.
Right.
It's not. I don't want to have to use Canada.
No.
But yeah,
It is a nice thing to have.
totally. Yeah, just giving him a pretty brief overview of what we're doing.
And maybe we have one section that we kind of leave as a floater, so like we could have something topical to fill in.
Yeah.
I had written down on like my notes of what to have, and some of the things I think are important to have because we'll be doing it yearly is the previous year's approved and then what's ongoing. So they can look and see like, oh, I heard that we had just finished the Commodore. I heard that they had just given money to this park. And you can see like, oh, this is how they did.
The rental assistance program will always be on.
And I
That
wrote
can help maybe even advertise. I didn't know that was available.
I wrote also to have a greatest hits section to show off some of our biggest projects, library, rental assist projects, something like that. Yeah.
Cool.
No, you see.
So I'm just sending it to Beth. If you want to send it to everybody, you should have it shortly. Okay. All right. But it wasn't that it was for not.
I thought everybody took them there. There were no left.
Oh, they did.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
That's what it was.
They were all
It was so
going.
popular.
You didn't say that. Say do you want?
I'm back for a second.
I forgot. Project updates. Archives.
So I did talk to I'm not drawing a blank on her name.
Katie.
Amy, thank you. She's still getting acclimated, and I gave her a lot of details. So she is going to be talking to the gentleman that still works there. I believe his name's Paul. Is that right?
No.
Mike, Mike, that was it. So anyway, she wanted to get in to the vault and have them around, but she'll be back in touch with us. I had that conversation right after our last meeting. So
Did you talk to her at all about historic documents versus?
I told her that, yeah, part of the concern we have is that, it seems like most of the truly historical documents have been done. And we have some question as to whether or not these funds can be used on documents that I consider historical, that they're more recent. So, but she's going to take an inventory and get back. Okay, I'll follow up with her again before next meeting.
Thank you. So I went out and took more photographs of the headstones. I talked to the guy. I talked to the cemetery guy in Chatham. He gave me the guy's name. His name is John Fugier. And we talked about what could be done. He talked about a product called D2 that treats lichens. He talked about consolidation. So I sent him the photographs and I asked him if he could give me an estimate of what potentially needs to be done, what it would cost, and the time frame to do it.
It's really hard to read. Something that I told you that a little contraption that Rich had made has fallen over.
So because when I went, I think I don't know what it was recently that they put the flags out again. That somebody had taken it off because there's a marker with the flag by that stone now. So I just left that off. I didn't put it back on.
So it's still sitting there.
And just because I thought it's kind of cattywampus. I'm like, what's going on with this? And it's because they'd removed it to put that, I don't know if it's GAR or, whatever, little film. That's why
I think it was blown off because there was no market there before. It was lying on its side, kind of askew. It didn't look like somebody had taken it off. We've had a lot of windy days.
it doesn't take much when
But again, it stayed in and stuff. And it's been a while since he put that thing in there. I don't think we did this the last time.
So hopefully at the next meeting, I'll have definitive answer for pricing and timing for him. 95 Bar Street. When you talked to Kristen, said anything about that? Because you could see that they have been doing some work, their equipment, but I don't know if that equipment is because they're putting the sidewalk in, and they're just using it as just kind of a parking staging area for the North Street parking lot, sidewalk. So I don't know that they really started, but it seems like they were going out to bid. That was the last report she gave us. Affordable Housing Trust, Grafton Affordable Housing.
Rental assistance?
Yes.
Yep. The Housing Authority, we received payment for 4 families, I believe, that otherwise wouldn't have been able to move in because they were in shelters and didn't have enough for the first months. So all 4 of them, we have their payments. I don't know if they're fully moved in, but that's kind of the point. Handled the money part. We have a lot of move-ins. This is all from our executive director. We have a lot of move-ins over the next couple of months. So we may be requesting more payments from that fund. And I'm going to next week. That was all for the actual funds part. Next week, I'm going to be reaching out to Representative Meridian and some of our connections at EOHLC to make the policy state recognized. Because as of right now, it's just kind of like our little town policy. But the state has a pretty thorough situation for getting policy state recognized. So this way, once it's actually on the books for our annual report, any town could just copy and paste the language, bring it to their CPC, bring it to town meeting, and replicate it for that town.
So can you?
If you talk to the coalition at all, sometimes they can put a template up and make it available to the other CPCs.
The CPC, not yet, because I want to get it through with our with this EOHLC for us, so we can have it state recognized. But I am also want to take up Stuart sitting, right?
Yep.
I wanted to see, because I have his email from our correspondence, because I spoke to him about it at like an open house or something. And like, so that's another person I got to get in contact with, the CPC. Because if for some reason, it's a good point, because if the state's like,
They're like,
no, we don't really do stuff like this, like that's your own little policy, then I can go CPC route and say CPCs can start telling their own housing authorities that this.
or you get the coalition to join you to help with the state initiative, and then that's even more energy towards it.
I definitely probably want to give it another look through, because our language is very firm about how to receive funds from the CPC. The CPC is the most protected in it, but I think the language on how the funds are used from an executive director standpoint could be a bit more thorough. We didn't have to be as extremely thorough, because I know our executive director and I know how they'll use them, and I trust them, and we all trust them. But I can imagine there might be some housing authorities around the state that may be a bit more hesitant to enforce it, not because they don't want the money, but because they don't know how it's going to be used by their own directors. So that might be another thing we do.
Other than that, no big. Just the Cisco Homestead, Justin emailed that he wasn't going to be here tonight, but he did send an update that, and we had some correspondence. They wanted to buy a storage unit for the things that were in the homestead while they were doing construction, and they wanted to buy it the next day. And I'm like, concerned that looking at the Warren article, that does not have that language, and it's that the Nematt tribe was going to buy it, not the contractor. If it had been the contractor, that would have been the easy part of that's your contract.
Buy it versus renting.
And renting would cost more, and that was the whole thing. But the bottom line was, if the language doesn't include it, we can't. Even if it's a good idea or makes sense, we can't broaden. So it turned out by the time I responded that night, then the next day, she said the tribe just went ahead and bought the storage unit. So that took that issue off the table because I said that would be my concern, that it's technically not part of, that was not part of the estimate. That was not part of the grant. So, but they are now taking things out. He was saying, trying to get rid of, and Kitty sounds like they are in the process of getting ready to do the work. So they are moving ahead. Paul,
Which one?
Congo Church.
So I have April and May updates. They started the construction in April 4/7 and 4/8, following the standard notification period or last DP, which is barely 10 days. They did some partial demo to.
So you're talking about Kentucky.
Oh, you said congregational. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, how did they start? That they were holding till town meeting.
There's no update other than they're funding it to the Congregational Church. I haven't heard back from them, but I'm sure they're working to get them started.
I did get a nice note today in the mail saying thank you for supporting this project and shepherding it through town meeting. So they are very appreciative of that. So now I'm a Unitarian Society.
So, like I said, they started construction 4/7, and they opened up between the first and the second floor, and they did find a couple obstructions, which they were a little worried about, but they were able to work around those.
A couple of
No big deal. One was a vertical rod that appeared to be supplementary within one wall, and then a wind brace that was not viewable before doing this larger demolition. Both were minor, and they were able to work around. They do have an issue with plumbing. Apparently, the way the plumbing is set up, you can't shut off like sections of it. You have to shut it all off. And there is some piping they have to move, and by doing that, it opens it up to needing to come up to code. So there is going to be some work on that. They're hoping that we will agree with them that it should be covered, because the only reason it's happening is because they've opened it up to put this lift in themselves, which makes complete sense to me.
Like that just goes to John's point there. Like the only reason they needed a rental unit is because of the work they were doing. They needed to put the stuff somewhere. So is it?
if it's the contractor that's doing it or if it's the church that's doing it. I think that was the way that I looked at the Nipmunks. It's the Nipmunks are wanting to do this and then have it, then submit the bill to be paid. If this is part of whatever the contractor is doing to say, for us to put in this lift, we're going to have to move these pipes.
Yeah.
That's okay. To me, that does fit in. It's like painting. We're not going to paint the building. You're ripping off boards, you're replacing wood, and then you have to paint to get it back to the way it was.
So is it just bringing it up to code in this one area? Because you just said it was all connected. So are we bringing the whole?
You just said they can't shut down one area, but it's just the one area.
No, but you were talking about the code that if they need to move pipes or that, to me, that falls within the scope of the footprint of this project. But if this triggers, like a lot of them, 50, whatever it is, 25%, and then you have to do the whole building,
That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
we will pay what is allowable to be reimbursed. Is anything that is impacted by that elevator shaft, but not down the hall and around the corner and upstairs, downstairs, or anywhere else.
They didn't fully know at the time this was written, and the update that you made didn't really cover this. I'm going to read you exactly what I've got here. The plumber is looking at the building system. It is essentially one old-fashioned plumbing system without a means to isolate areas of the building. So plumbing work to relocate existing pipes will mean shutting down the entire building, including heat. We are expecting there may be a plumbing change order in May, since there is some unanticipated work that will occur, including potentially some work to make the plumbing system code compliant. We believe this work is directly related to the project as it would not be occurring otherwise. I'll be working with the general contractor and plumber to ensure that when required work is done, there will not be any nice to have the scope added. Now, again, he didn't give me the full report, but he sent me an email, which I'll switch to in a minute. But it didn't mention the plumbing. So I can follow up with him on that to find out where they stand with it, because this thing was written at the end of April. So, it's probably not a month thing at this one. So I'll find out. Just said Norm Hill has been there and reviewed the work a couple of times. And then for May, so it's gone well in May. The framing for the shaft was completed and accepted by the lift manufacturer, so they moved it to the fabrication point for the lift. They originally said the fabrication was going to be a 6 to 8 week long process, so they're hoping it'll go faster, but that's what they were told. He did say something. Electrical and plumbing rough is done, and the GC has been coordinating with the alarm company, but he didn't really go into enough detail, so I'll get the plumbing update. And it says we'll get an inspection from the town and then move it to finishes. All of this and more will be in the May report in about 3 weeks. So, yeah.
What, like, do they have enough money for this? Like, I guess that's my concern, is if they didn't have any, like, will their contingency kind of cover that? Like, that sounds like expensive, I guess.
I have no idea on amount. He has a specified. I can follow up with him to ask, and I'm sure he'll include it in the main official report when I get it. That was just
I would at least caution him to make sure, to share the conversation that we had, that whatever the plumbing is, it needs to be limited to where the elevator shaft is. And, if they need a shut-off valve to shut that off, that's legitimate, but not to upgrade to meet code.
I think his
So just because if there's a bill,
ends up. Yeah.
if they incurred that and there's a bill and I see it and I'm like,
Because
they may not be happy.
Yeah.
So make sure they're not incurring expenses that cannot be reimbursed, and that the share that they're paying, that they have enough money to pay for that.
Yep.
it also makes me a little nervous that they just went forward with it. They just decided that they think it covers it without us talking about it first, which I'm sure.
He literally just sent this report to me like within the last 2 days. So
Right, but he said they moved forward with it.
that they've done the rough plumbing.
Right. I guess.
So he's not talking. I assume from his note that he's talking about the plumbing right in that location. He's not talking about anything broader than that, or I think he would have specified. So, but I will clarify that.
Okay.
Because I just don't want them to.
Andy's been through these multiple.
So Andy Deshing is working on this?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, he is.
I thought he was the Congo. I didn't know he was the.
No, he's doing both.
Yeah, I thought it kind of was thinking more any for the both goodies too.
Could you forward those emails to Beth so they're part of the record now since you read them out?
Yep. Cool.
Thank you.
Baseline reports for 179 and 183 Upton Street.
The groundwork, the underground work has been done, and data's and the photographs have been taken, and now it's a matter of getting the report together. And you recall that the previous report was like 80 pages long, and so, but this one will be almost identical.
But is it like most of that?
Many of the pages will be, most of those pages will be the same because the properties are right next to each other and they are the same.
Yeah.
So all the background data will just carry from one to the other.
Are we reading that?
It was passed around at a prior meeting, and I don't think anybody read it.
Not in the meeting.
Not every page anyway.
Oh, before you go to bed? Yeah, exactly. That's nighttime reading. They don't know pictures. They don't know things.
We have a lot of nice pictures. Anyway, it's a beautiful piece of property. It's right on the lake, and many times, in different times of the year, it's just gorgeous.
So is this one of the better pieces of that collection?
It's one of the more scenic ones because it looks out over more of the lake. and there's 2 working beaver dams on the Misco Brook that comes through there, and they're pretty nice. So it's really pretty nice. If you want to go take a walk, you park along the side of a lake there where the wide spot is.
Yep.
And you just walk a little bit past, a little bit to the north, and that's it. And it's really pretty nice. The only thing about it is that there's a lot of road trash right along the road. Yeah, people, this road litter, and we're trying to get some group to come with a bunch of people want to do something good and just pick up all that litter. That would be nice. And there's a little bit of flotsam on the shoreline that leaves the beach and gets blown across the lake and goes ashore there on this piece of the property. So there's a few inflatable, remnants of inflatables.
Oh,
But other than that, it's the property's in good shape. It's beautiful. And one thing that we discovered that no one knew about is that there is a critter tunnel under Route 140.
oh,
A concrete tunnel like there is in the Brook Meadow.
oh, like
Village.
intentional.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun.
Like in the Brook Meadow Village, when they put the road in, they put a deer, a tunnel for animals as large as deer to get underneath the road.
Is that how they're being pictures of that?
There is one of those on that property to go under the road from the.
Big enough for deer and people?
It's just, big enough for deer to go through. And people
That's not, that's what.
What pictures of that will be in this report? I want to see that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I do. To be a trap. We'll get the trap over there.
But it's a nice property and it's really valuable, and the town should do something with it. It has a trail on it that begins a trail that goes around the lake, and the trail needs maintenance, but it is there.
It's cool. Ultimate hide and seek spot.
The tunnel is a small tunnel, not a deer tunnel. Or it is a deer
You can
tunnel.
get through it.
Oh,
It could be a.
Is that that
it
you
could be a
you said
it could be a-
Get to be your
escape black or something different.
Can name it. Maybe rates a limit.
Yeah, it's there. Oh, here it is.
Oh, you have to think of cow.
Oh, that's cool.
That's down under the book things. Okay.
So from turtles to deer. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it. It's quite.
Does that need to be like maintenance?
No.
Like if crew
Yeah, no, I did it.
Maintenance free.
Okay.
Oh, it's maintenance.
No one never gets it.
But like a beaver wouldn't try to dam it up.
It's not. There's no water through it.
But
It's from like field to field.
part of when they built the road, they
Yeah.
up team
You can see what.
Yeah.
That's
70 years.
140 up and.
Yep.
they put it in.
I'm gonna go find this sucker and I'm gonna go look.
You can go think.
I'm gonna
Flashing like.
You can do it.
I'm gonna snakes.
Like you have bad snakes here.
No, we have good snakes.
It's no such thing.
No, it's spiders. I can't. I'll do the snakes all day long.
Not like spiders, but out in school, they're just like,
Wow, you didn't even see the other end.
Yeah. Take pictures when you get to the position and thing and
big enough for someone to walk through. I guess
not you.
You got to crawl? Is that what you mean?
You just bend it.
I'm not doing that.
So it's
That's cool.
Oh yeah, that's smart. That's great.
yeah. And so that was built by the state when they built the road.
So
Fantastic.
to reach out to Grafton High School students when they do their community service, they'd be a good group to clean up the
Excellent.
brush.
Yeah,
Yeah.
excellent. It would not take very long, but it'd be a big improvement.
Yeah, no, that I hate that.
There's a lot of those groups when they go out and do like trash days. They send like 20 people and they're out there spamming going.
Yeah.
So they do that spring cleanup?
Yeah, they did. I went and helped clean up a retention wall for behind the Fisherville Mill. Somebody posted they were upset about all the construction trash, so I went out there and we cleaned it all up. And she found $100 bill while we were doing it. So that's like immediate.
Somebody put a $100 bill up. Somebody put
It was awesome.
So this would be a good thing to look into for the other properties we have because I know a lot of like the worst trash pileups are those like I'm not even sure what the actual term for the waterways, but those like very thin waterways that kind of build in between two plateauing fields. And there's a lot of wildlife that grows them, and there's a lot of wildlife in it. And the trash just kind of from the wind all collects in there. So those would be good spots to go around and
so.
grab everything.
He was.
I love that.
We did not include this as a part of the purchase of this property, Ken.
No.
Yeah.
And this should there not be a sign on 140
Oh, yes.
that names this? That we give it a name
It has a name. It's a Silver Lake Conservation Area.
and then say funded by.
Absolutely.
So we do.
Because the committee put a lot of money into that. It's over $1 million between the three parcels.
Do you want like a big sign or do you want like a highway sign?
It's like the signs that we've done for all the CPC projects.
Yes, even the town has adopted that because all the town signs are grant posts and wooden now too. Recreation signs are all that way. All the signs are this now have adopted the CPC standard.
So
But yeah, you should absolutely do that.
have you been one that negotiated with Sunshine or the project?
No, I don't recall if I ever did it personally,
In the comment, it's a
but they know what the signs are. Sunshine Sonic has made a dozen of those signs to town.
yeah, kind of like that.
Because I could.
Yeah,
Especially the so massive.
But basically, I remember.
While you're walking.
That's right. That's
yeah.
right.
Instead of another
Now.
Sign.
So what do you call what's
signs everywhere. Do we all just decide?
it's called the
Silver Lake Conservation Area.
No, but we'll just move forward. Okay. It's done.
basically it's all to be then funded by community preservation funds.
Right, 100%.
Can we make a suggestion? So on the common, the sign is on a rock with a plaque. And since this is kind of a nature area, a rock with a plaque seems like it would fit nicely in that area versus a sign with, you know what I mean? Like,
Because I'm thinking more drive by. I'll try to advertise. Whereas I see it if there's a trail, if there's a trail, I don't have a problem with that. Even having like on the common where it just explains what this is or it's part of the
If someone is walking,
that they're two different kinds of signs that
so there's a sign on Eckball Landing, the sign on the Fisherville Park.
yep.
The Fisherville sign, it's right on the road where the Fisherville is in the back.
Those are
There's a sign-
curated
there's a sign-
spots, I feel like. This feels very less touched
But
by.
I'm just thinking when you're driving by on 140
Yep.
and flying by, if it's on a rock, nobody's going to see that.
That's okay.
And so I want people to know we spend $1 million of your tax dollars.
Yeah, like $1 million.
Is that the trailhead right there?
Pardon?
Is that the trailhead, that piece of?
There is a spot where the trail starts. There used to be right where the no trespassing sign was when the Robinsons put up there.
You're welcome.
It was identifying. It was
As the trail starts there.
Identified the trailhead.
Aliens will be shot.
It's the sign that gets ignored.
Because I don't have a problem with having two signs. And we got the granite from Fisherville Mill site
Yeah.
that he gave us.
Is it challenging mounting the plaque onto it because it's not perfectly easy?
And some of us like the way it was done, where it kind of stands proud. Some people wanted it flush where you would have to carve in to make it.
I don't think it needs to be that intricate. I think it needs to be more rustic, like wilderness sort of is. You know what I mean?
But to me, it's like if they're going to do trails or something, I don't know if that's the time to do the sign. If you want to do one now, if you want to do both.
If most of the properties in the Trenton one have a sign, a CPC sign of a particular style that will last 50 years.
Well, there you go, Ron.
And that's exactly as John is saying, this needs to be a sign that you can see when you're driving.
Driving by. Yep.
And so they've got grant posts and a big wooden sign that's got relief cut into it, so it's not just paint. And they do this. The one on Eckball Landing was there since 2002.
That's
Yeah.
almost
Yep.
very
Yep.
2002.
I think that looks pretty good.
It does. So they all look
Yeah.
like that. And the committee has made probably 10 of them in different places. And other parts of the town are now using the same style. They used to have, when you entered the town, you get those green signs with the green plastic posts that look
Yep.
so cheesy. If you look now, some of those are granite. Because the town's been replacing them with those signs because they get better. And they'll last
They'll last
they'll
long.
last 50 years.
They look way better.
So,
And this is
I'm happy to talk to them. To me, this is going to be
so
simple, but I'm thinking the end of the fiscal year is June 30th, and I would love to get this in our admin budget for this year.
oh yeah.
So let's squeeze it in the
So what's the process for the committee to do that?
that I would go to Sunshine Sign get a bid, get information. I could send it out before the meeting, and then we could come and vote on it at the next meeting.
Usually it'll have the name and it has some kind of an icon, like a motif,
Like at,
icon. Like, you know,
they did the small.
like one's got a swan, the one with the field is some sports things, and it's basically an icon. And
Well, you could do a beaver or a turtle.
a beaver or a turtle.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
No, yes, good ideas. Because they must have turtles in there.
Oh, no, there's turtles in there.
Okay. Good. Maybe a turtle and a beaver would be awesome. That'd be great.
Where'd the name Ekblock come from? Where'd the name Ekblock come from?
Somebody's
There used to be
the fruit season.
there used to be an Ekblock fruit stand.
I just mean that
Back
before was the guy's name.
Anybody here was or probably.
It has to be Carlson.
Then at one time they called it the tea room or something. Have I not met?
On the other side of the river, the other side of the river was the tea room.
And that's
That's the foundation's still there, and that's on Land Trust.
So will this be the Robinson Landing?
If you look at this Land Trust,
No.
if you look on the Land Trust website, because stuff about the tea room that you spoke of.
Okay. No,
It's just no. That's fine. You don't
no,
have to
for the
explain.
next, no, sorry.
No, Mary Gloria had sent a note about the last time you get FY25 invoices in. They're still in the
Right.
It's
As I said, usually kind of July.
July 11.
Time. But I will, if people are in favor of having a sign for this property, I will,
Hi.
Bye.
okay, so we,
Turtle and beaver.
and this doesn't preclude doing another sign for, that's more pedestrian friendly, for the actual trail, a plug. That would be
Yeah.
on a granite rock or stone or whatever, yeah. And to me, with more of the history or more information where people can actually learn something before they,
Maybe I could suggest the trail committee, they fix up the trail.
I didn't think they were supposed to do that. That was the whole point of the trail committee, is that they wouldn't do maintenance. Now that was kind of like that's a good idea.
That's
But they-
stupid.
yeah, they're like, yeah,
That's stupid.
trail committee. Right.
They make them a reason to end.
Who's gonna do it?
We're done here.
Somebody's gonna do it.
Not
You know,
maintenance,
like an intermediary.
I guess.
The trail.
But I think maintenance makes total sense for that committee.
Yeah, I do too.
simplicity, they
Makes sense to go as far as giving them a budget to do it.
Well, it doesn't really cost
At
anything.
least
It doesn't,
create
it's just,
Yeah.
it doesn't cost anything to do maintenance other than labor. And if the labor is free volunteers, then you don't need money.
no, it's just the city people doesn't stick volunteer.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will reach out to Sunshine Sign, try to get some information, where's the next meeting?
Like,
Yeah, there should be a way to get stipends.
oh, like to his point, it's really just,
Just like the one. Hill Farm.
and then unless they need to do like the bridges. Yeah.
Plus, I was saying, because I like for housing authority, we get stipends because they're like, you're working for our department for an hour a month. There's nothing. And I'm like, okay. But for trails for maintenance, there should be a way to get how much.
I don't know that, and that might already be someone's job in conservation that goes out and does that.
Okay.
Just put on the bottom, don't throw your trash out your window here.
Oh, yeah, probably.
We can just get a big, the little trash thing.
And maybe it's sitting on top of some like.
too.
Yes. But
Yeah, but then
they think because it's a big hill on one side, they can
at least
just
they're using it.
start to put down your.
This was, they did from
All new vistas, the beach, affordable rental, trust everything, just
There's no big
one thing I know, okay, right here.
Yeah.
just
CPA project science. This is another, it's like a Jason information, one that they send it to the Harwich of what Boston.
these pieces in here, in fact, they go all the way up
Am I slow?
to here and blue stack,
Thanks.
and over to here.
All done.
Mr. Stevens is here.
Next nice day, I'll take a walk.
I talked to or emailed with, they don't have staff members, which was kind of created a hurdle, but I found the chairman of the Harwich Community Preservation Committee and asked and said, you know, I really think their signage is wonderful and it's helped spreading the word, blah, blah, blah. So he said, We don't do that. We have a volunteer on our committee that does that, that works with the IT team. I think he was talking about the website. So I said, no, I mean the actual signs that are in front of your properties that are being funded through. She says, oh, you need to talk to the lady at the library.
Holy Harwich, what's going on?
So I've called her and left her a message. Called her in today, and it's didn't get a call back. So I'm hoping, because I said such as the sign at the library, that's what he meant, that she paid for it. I don't know, because it wasn't just a library, or multiple ones that will on Main Street. So
Who was it that you talked to?
the chairman of the Harwich CPC, but he said I need to talk to the library director.
Yeah, I've heard that. It doesn't make much sense.
But it's because the sign was, and I don't know again if he's
Do they have an admin? Maybe you
night. They go. That's the thing. He said we're all volunteer,
Okay.
because that's when he was going on about, this email about the website. He said, well, we have a volunteer on CPC that works with their IT team, and that's how we put it together. Let me start over. So I will keep pursuing the library, and then they actually have an assistant director. So if I can get it there, I will try to see if I have any luck with that, or even just the town administrator. If DPW. I mean, you just don't know, because you just don't know what you don't know. So that's that. But at least I've made a little progress. And then Lake Wildwood, same old, no update. So
Move to return.
Second.
and then last but insurance. All those in favor?
Hi.
And if all those opposed, motion would can't. Motion carried.
758.
758. Yes, plus sign allowance.